original question was that my style has changed.
Exactly.
And yeah, I was recounting the connection with my daughter. My daughter is a teenage daughter, so 14 years old, and I was going through exactly the same developmental stages that she was going through, even though I was in my late 40s. So I was making all those mistakes and learnings that she was making. So whether it's with makeup, with hair, with clothes, or behavioural issues, and gestures and all those sort of things. So, and that's because genetic women have that opportunity to learn all that as they go through life, and they learn it over a longer period of time.
Mm-hmm.
As a trans woman, you have to cram that into a really short space of time, and your learning is really acute and really concentrated. And the quicker that you can work that out and come out the other side, the more successful your transition is. One would argue that different trans women have different starting points, and that some are quite feminine and are very passable to start with. But in my case, I had quite a big jump to make. And interestingly, and one of the conversations I was going to have with that young lady next door was that the turning point for me was having my FFS with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was when I got back to the UK and the swelling started to go down and the bruising went, that I started getting gendered as I wanted to be gendered regularly for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't living full time at that point. I was just recovering from the surgery with a view to, I had hair transplants to come, I had my GRS to cut. That was the first point to start that process of all the other things that I needed to put in line behind it. And it was noticeable within weeks of being back in the UK, I was getting called madam and all those sort of things. Even now, still quite badly bruised and what have you as I recovered from the surgery. And we're still carrying many male mannerisms and or my voice and my height. So that transitional journey is, at what point do you start, what point do you finish, and how long does that take? In my case, it's taken about 4 to 5 years. In some cases it was shorter, truncated, and in some cases it would be even longer.
Mm-hmm.
But that was certainly the start.
So to go full-time immediately after your FFS, in fact you hadn't planned it?
No, I hadn't. I'd planned to evolve my role. I have 3 children,
Mm-hmm.
and I needed to take them along on that journey. And they were, my twins were only 11 at the time. So to take them along on that journey, I couldn't make that big start jump. I had to do things in stages, and I had to do that so that I could explain. So my surgery after you, all they were thinking about at the time was I looked like I'd been injured, or I was hurt. That's all they worried about. And to sort of spend time just reassuring them that I was fine, this is something I wanted. That was the only thing I needed to talk about at that point. And once they saw me recover from that, it was about changing their memories as well. That person that they'd seen, they were no longer seeing. So there was quite a big difference visually for them to adjust to. So going through that was a priority, what they could take on board, what they could assimilate. And then once they started to see me happier, because I was recovering and I was seeing progress, I was on hormones and I was having my facial hair removed, then that was the time to start talking to them about what I was doing. They'd sussed out some things, and indeed my daughter had gone to my ex-wife and asked her about it. But my view was that I wanted to start my transition, I wanted to evolve, and whilst that led for a year or so of being a bit awkward for some people and myself, it certainly seemed to be the best way to do it, and it was the one that managed to take all my friends, my family, and my children on that journey, rather than just go, chop, I'm going to do this now, because that's a shock to everyone. And I think one of the things that people forget about transitioning is it's not just me that's transitioning, it's everyone around me that has to transition. I've got friends who I've just been on Facebook with, I've known them for 40 years, 45 years, so they've got loads of memories stored up. You've got to change those memories as well. So yeah, you get misgendered, you get accidentally called he, sometimes, but that's not because they mean it wrongly. It's just that they've known you for all these years. They've grown up with you. So FFS was the beginning of a process. It wasn't a turn. I had to recover from that first, and then I had other things to sort out as I built up to the point where I felt like I could pass successfully to then announce what I was going to do.
And how long after FOS was that?
I think it's 4 years. 2010, I think I saw you. So I think that, about 2 years ago I was in a comfortable place. It works, can be done. Can be done. And for those who transition, there's these important milestones, whether it's hair transplants, hormones, body surgery or facial surgery, all these things have to be planned in, and there is a logical sequence to events to try and get through that.
What was the most memorable moment in your whole transition?
Well, two things. My facial surgery and the recovery from that, and my gender reassignment surgery, which I had in Thailand 18 months ago. Because that was the end of the journey. The FFS was the real beginning. At that point, that was the real commitment to starting this process. There was no going back at that point. And then the GRS, which for me was a very personal thing. Some trans women don't even need to do that, but for me, I wanted to do it. But it wasn't high on that list of priorities. My list of priorities was to present correctly to the outside world, to then start living that role. And then the GRS at the end was something very personal, and that was for my benefit. And recovering in Thailand from that, when I came back, that was the end of the journey. So, and that was about 4 years.
And if you would have, if you can give advice to people that are in the beginning of the journey, what advice would that be?
Talk to people like me. Talk to people who've done it. The whole process is a huge information gathering exercise. You're learning about hormones and all those things that are very complicated. You're learning about surgeons, consultants. You're learning about procedures. You're learning about the law, changing your documents. Your employment. Everything is thrown up in the air. So that knowledge does exist. Social media helps. It helps to connect with people who are doing certain parts of it. But talk to people who've gone through everything or gone through the bit that you're interested in. You can't.
And can we include your email in the video?
Yeah, of course.
On the end?
Yeah, of course. It's interesting because as you go through this, you feel quite evangelical about it. You want to tell people, I'm proud of being a trans woman. I don't hide the fact I'm a trans woman. I can't. I don't want to. But likewise, I want to tell people that you can do this. It can be done. It can be done successfully, and you can keep the people around you that you want.